Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Sean Vaughn with Gaming and Culture Television. Welcome to the UN. Um, Today I'm all by my lonesome, but I found a few topics to talk about. One of which is about Beyonce going country, and then I'm gonna go over react to a video I saw on Film Thread about a WGA writer talking about like Hollywood, and gonna end the show with a little bit of the future of gaming because Xbox has been in the news for this week. So let's get it started with a little bit of Beyonce. All right. Beyonce decided to drop an country album. She dropped a single, I think. I know it's I'm not sure if it's the album or not, but she did drop a single. I must confess that I am not the biggest Beyonce fan. She's a good singer. I can't really get with her music all that much. It's just not my taste. But I listened to the song and I wasn't really feeling it. It didn't really sound like a country song to me. A little bit of history. I have been listening to country music since like the end of the 90s, like 98 or something like that. I was working at a phone company in Minnesota, and I was driving around a truck around a lot of like woods, back country type stuff. And for whatever reason, I felt in the mood to listen to some country. Now, I hadn't listened to country up until that point, like at all, because to me it was hillbilly music. You kind of hear it when, like, if you go on a trip someplace, you will hear it at gas stations and whatnot in between cities. So it's a lot of rural stuff. So, one of my friends who I'm still cool with, I was like, "Well, what's the country station?" So I just wanted, for whatever reason, I just felt like in the mood to listen to it. So then I listened to it. I'm like, "Oh, okay, this is not what I thought." It's like one of those you have a lot of preconceptions about stuff, and unless you experience it yourself, then you won't truly understand something. So I really got into it. I mean, it's almost 25 years later, and I've seen the last two different generations of country, so to speak. Um, I remember I was working in the central office. All right, so I had Tim McGraw playing. So it was like one of the songs I like. I love this particular song. So I'm playing, and I'm in one of the aisles, and I'm working, and this white dude comes in. So, and I can see him out of the corner of my eye. Right. So he walks up, and he I can see him stopping, and he look and he listening to the music, and he's going. He's like getting into the song, and then he looks down and sees me like working and singing the song at the same time. And like I said, I can see him in my side view, so he really can't see me. So he does like this thing where he looks at me, then he looks at the music, and then he looks at me again. It's like you're like, oh, okay. And then he kept walking, which is an interesting thing of it's like many preconceptions about a lot of stuff, and this goes into this particular thing with Beyonce is they had and see if I can find this article. Uh, okay. All right, I'm gonna start with this Fox. Is a Fox news article. So let me see if I can pull it up, and because I haven't looked at any of these articles. All right, share the screen. All right, share this particular screen. My poor computer. Let me pull this off over here. What the? Okay, my computer doing weird stuff. I have too many. Okay, come on, man. Okay, it just closed it. Awesome. Okay, so it's still open someplace. Where is it open at? Oh, okay, here it is. Put it back. That's weird. All right. So Beyonce's new country song highlight genres, races, and see, this is what I'm talking about. Is all right. Country music influences. See, is this an actual article? See, I haven't looked at any of this. So, oh no, I'm not joining your crap. Like these old media is attempting, like they want to force you. It's like I'm interested in what you had to say, but I'm not interested enough to give you my email address. All right, close this. But the title of it is, and I had a conversation with this other guy about this. All right, so let me see if I can find. All right, mhm. All right, let me close this. Oh, that's the onion. Oh yeah, this is crazy, dude. You gotta like I basically typed in Beyonce country, and the articles that are coming up is is kind of crazy. All right, so one of the things that came up is because there was like a particular radio station, like in Oklahoma or something like that, who didn't want to play the song, and from what I could tell of what I saw, the, it was a thing. Hmm, it's a little choppy. All right. It would have something to do with they don't normally play new music unless it gets on like bigger stations or something like that. No, I do not want her to subscribe. No, I do not want notifications. Oh yeah. What? Why country's resistance to Beyonce is cultural appropriation. Seems everywhere these days you're not wrong. We're not even 2 months into the new year, and Western wear is following us. See the all right. Go back to just me. All right. So the reason, all right, I'm gonna get into this article, but the thing that it's like I was trying to figure out like why is Beyonce doing a country album, and then I remember someone talking about how R&B and hip hop aren't really selling nearly as much as it has been in the past, and some of the stuff that is actually selling right now in terms of people, I mean, selling in the sense of streaming and all that stuff. It is Afro beats and it is like Latin music, and I just found out recently apparently country is having a huge renaissance kind of thing where it's a growing genre, even though it's been around for a long time, and so it's like maybe that's why she decided to do a country album. I don't know. It was kind of weird. Kind of thing is like Chris Brown's last album was kind of an Afro beats album, so it's kind of weird. So I don't know exactly why she decided to do this, but uh, so it's like Western wear, and the when I listened to the song, what hit me was because like there are plenty of black artists who do country, and there's like one that's called Jimmy Allen. He has a song called Make Me Want to. And essentially what it is, the premise of it is that I don't love you, but you're kind of making me want to. So it's like you are the kind of person that would make me like you would want to make me fall in love with you. And the thing about country music and what I've noticed over the 20 some odd years or whatever I've been listening to it is they still do the stuff that like they talk about that. They talk about childhood stuff. They talk about uh like being in a small town type vibe because country music is more geared towards the middle of the country and not so much the coast. It's like, yeah, they got country artists who are from the coast, but in terms of your the fan base is more middle of the thing. So again, that's why I thought it was odd that she would decide to do this. And to me, it came across as kind of inauthentic. It's like because there's a lady named Elle King. She had a song with Miranda uh, Lambert, if I had said that, if I said that correctly. That the way that the song is produced, it comes like when you listen to it, it's like, oh, okay, so this is what the producers of this particular song was trying to do, but I don't think they succeeded at it. So I think a lot of the people who like it, I think they like Beyonce. So and it's a Beyonce song. And like I said, I don't really particularly like her music that much, but when I looked at the video and the video comes on, so it's like the song comes on, she's cursing in the first like bar, which is like that's you don't really do that in country. And the video, she's like half naked, and I'm like, okay, that's not us again. That's not who you make. It's not typical country stuff. So I'm like, all right, it's just like I said, it came across to me as kind of inauthentic. It's like she's just trying to get into this music that is popular right now. So she just I don't know. It feels like she got one of her producers to just make her a country song and they didn't really like I don't know. It's like I'm trying to see if I can how to formulate this. Well, I'm not trying to be insulting because she can sing very well and there are plenty of like if she would got like an a bunch of let's see, if she would have if she would have came out with a ballad, picked a like Jimmy Allen, and she would have did a ballad with him, I think that would have worked a little bit better in terms of the country stuff. So, there's a let's get into what they say in this article, though. All right, so I guess Western wear is culture is okay. Yeah, like I said, it's growing on Spotify. I heard somebody talking about this, and it was saying that country was the last group of people who got on Spotify in terms of listening to music on Spotify. So that can account for the surge in people listening to country on Certify. I mean on Spotify. I said that wrong. All right. So let's talk about Pharrell Williams wearing a cowboy hat and things. See, this is what I mean. Is just like if you are a true fan of this, it just feels like a bunch of interlopers is just swooping in and just copying your stuff. That's how it can come across. It's like, yeah, it's like Post Malone is wearing cowboy outfits and stuff like that. So I listened to Texas Hold'em, and I didn't listen to 16 Carriages. I got somebody else to check it out, and they didn't even get past the first bar. Okay. Country based Oklahoma. Requested by listeners. The station manager's reject was simply, we do not play Beyonce as we are a country music station. Not only does this statement dismiss her new release, but it also denies Beyonce's previous forays and country music that is less than her Lemonade album. It should be noted that this song is a topic of controversy in the country community when she performed live with the Chicks on the 50th Country Music Awards. It's like, that's nice. you could think that it's country, but you're trying to tell the folks who listen to that's what their business is, that is country, and they just don't agree with you. All right, so it got bombarded with her fans. It's like, see, okay, and this is when we get into to the weeds of this. Considering the historical origins of country music, yes, country music is a offshoot of the of blues. So yes, long time ago, they had I think Ray Charles did country, and they had a lot of country artists who were black because it was kind of came from the same tree in terms of music. It's like if you listen to old country, it's like it's you can hear where its influence came from. So, and but that doesn't take an account for where the music genre has been for the last 60 years or so. So, and this is what I also don't particularly care for is this, like, you can like the song, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the people who do like this, like who don't like it, they're that they're being racist. It just reminds me of, like I said, this. It's like nothing about Pharrell is country. He's just dressed up as country. So it's just like it's a new thing. So when they talk about gatekeeping, I remember this singer named Joss Stone and the amount of crap that she got because she was a white British lady doing soul music. So it's like it's okay for black people to gatekeep white artists, but it's not and to off in the sense of doing it for the purity of your musical genre. So, but it's not okay for white people to do that, which is it's like hypocrisy. And then so you just basically pull a race card because you can't shove her on to these stations who don't want to play Beyonce's music. It's like okay, she sung a song with the Dixie Chicks. It's like that's nice. So it's like if you're gonna switch genres, you need to respect the genre that you're going into, and don't just decide one day because you're you know who you are that you can just force yourself into it. So it's like what people a lot of people don't really realize is like if you go back and you listen to like Lionel Richie music, all right, Lionel Richie, it's like if you listen to the way he wrote songs and all that, it was country music but with a funky beat and all that. And the same thing with like Brian McKnight. Brian McKnight did a lot of country type songs, but more R&B ish, right? So when Lionel Richie did a country album with his hits, he was able to do it quite easily, from what I can tell, and not really change how he sung the songs because at heart, those songs are more country songs. So he just changed the music that went along behind it. So, and this I don't get how this helps your cause. It's like so this goes into the history of yes, it's like yeah, country music. A lot of music came from black culture. It's like EDM and hip hop and soul and jazz and blues and so in terms of music, it's like in terms of music from America, black music is what basically music from America sounds like. You know? Yeah. So this song this goes into the whole history of that. So cultural appropriation occurs when members of one culture take possession and ownership of elements. This is funny. These same people who saying all this stuff, and I'm gonna stop. I ain't reading no more of this. These same people who saying us didn't really care about country music. Didn't. When people was buying R&B, hip hop, and all that stuff was on top of the pop. I ain't never heard anything about this, about cultural appropriation when it comes. Like I knew the history of country music because I like music, so I am somewhat familiar with the history of a lot of it, especially when it comes to American music. Just like with the Rolling Stones, there's this guy named Muddy Waters, who, if you go back and listen to him, that basically the Rolling Stones just copied what, because he was a huge inspiration to them. And if you go look at the British invasion and all that stuff, the music that they were playing, all that came from black music in America. So I I'm well aware of the history of stuff. But I'm also aware that none of these people who are saying all this stuff actually cared about this. Like, and I'll show you this Reddit post. All right, let me share this. So this is a Reddit post, and genre she doesn't know well, for she will be dealt with. I don't know what. Uh, Sunday. This is Forbes, and this is from the same folks. Beyonce shocked the world by dropping two singles. The fact that she shared new music is exciting enough, but this time around, the superstar is changing things up and trying her hand at genre she doesn't know well. While the world called her first latest orphans what they are, country, it is yet to be seen if the Billboard charts will reflect that. And so this is the Beyonce Reddit, I guess. So it's like, so most of these comments are, yeah, is okay. She's going to the hornet's nest with this album. So you talk about revolution and all this stuff. None of these people actually gave two craps about country music until Beyonce decided to make a song about it. They have plenty of black artists in country music that the people who are yelling about this probably don't even know. Don't know, don't care, whatever. There's actually like just a dude that came out like last year and it's like country trap. It's like the craziest thing combination. And it's actually pretty cool. So it's like this like article after article after article, and it's all the same stuff about how she's just going to do this and she's always been country and blah 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 and yada 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 and so on and so on. It's like, no, none of you cared until the genre got popular, and this is probably what the issue a lot of these folks at these country radio stations are looking at it as, is you just trying to wear their music as a suit to suit your purposes. And if the shoe was on the other foot and you had some, and if country music was super popular, then all of a sudden going down, and then R&B and soul music came up, and Taylor Swift decided that she wanted to put out a soul album and was forcing black radio stations to play her, you'd be all up in arms about that. So I don't know what she's probably gonna do this for this particular album. Who knows what it's gonna do? I seriously doubt she's gonna make this into a it's like a shift in her like what she's gonna do. I think, I don't know, maybe this was something that she wanted to try. I don't know. But her fan base is kind of tripping me out. But I don't know. It's not really much to talk about because it's like the same old, same old. I wish I could play some of the music of the uh black artists that are country. They make country music. It sounds very good. And but given how YouTube is, it's like I really can't play any. So anybody out there who is listening, go look up Jimmy Allen. There's a good dude named Breland. He's pretty good. Darius Rucker has been around for a long time, and he's actually talked about some of the issues that he's had in country music. You know, so I'm not saying that there's no issue, because but I think it's more of the just it's gatekeeping. Is that people, they like their stuff how it is, and they don't like outsiders coming in. But everybody does it. So the folks who are pretending that this is just a white thing, it's like no. I remember when Eminem first came on the scene and how he got treated. So this is just a thing. So all right, I think about that's about all of that I want to talk about. So the next thing I kind of wanted to do was talk about like a video that looked interesting. So and it's a little bit of movie news. So let me look it up so I can do a reaction to it live on thing. All right, here we go. All right, hold on. This is a commercial. All right. I have been a lot of folks have been talking about Madam Web. It's like I had zero interest in that particular. It's like I had zero interest in that particular movie because the trailer was terrible. They mixed up a bunch of stories from Spider-Man, and they couldn't even get because the weird rights for Madam for like Sony in terms of Spider-Man. It's like they can't use them without having Marvel's. It's like how to say this. It's like they can't use him without Marvel's direct involvement, so they can't just make a movie with him. So in the thing, they have references to Spider-Man that they had to take out because of licensing things. So it just led me to wonder how long this thing with like this weird era that we're in where they keep making stuff that nobody wants to watch. It's like I'm curious as to how long that's going to go on before we go back to making stuff like that people just like want to give Hollywood money for. It's like one of my favorite genres, which is kind of crazy, is like I like romantic comedies. I don't like all of them. I like some of them, but in terms of just interesting stuff that I find interesting, I like that kind of stuff. I like summer blockbusters mostly, though. You know, you don't really got to think about, and you can just kind of throw all your issues and that you're dealing with that day, and just sit down for a few hours and watch stuff blow up. So it looked like this is screen. I mean, no screen. This is Film Thread. All right, let me share this. All right. So this is Film Thread, and they're talking to a WGA screenwriter. So I was curious to see what they have to say about this. So let's check it
From
out.
the WGA, that is the Writers Guild of America, Jim
So this is Film
Agnew.
Thread.
Jim, dude,
how's it going? Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you perfect. How's it going?
Good. Just to clarify, I'm not with the WGA, but I'm a member of the WGA.
Right. You're not officially representing the WGA. You are a member. You're a screenwriter, a WGA screenwriter. We've been
all right. Well, before we get into this, Film Thread has been doing like a series of articles about what happened with Disney. Hold on. Sorry about that. It's been doing an article with what's going on at Disney. So like this guy right here, all right, this is Alan Ing. He went to go see Wish. He didn't really like it too much. And in his review, he gave he broke it down like why it was a bad movie. And it was Disney not being able to make Disney anymore. So that kicked off a whole different thing where he's talking about like he got a lot of DMs from former and current Disney employees saying how bad everything is. So they're going to get into the DE. This is diversity, inclusion. Diversity, inclusion. What the hell does the E stand for? Oh, that's inclusion. Equity, diversity, equity, inclusion. I don't know what the A stands for. So maybe he'll let us know what the A stands for.
Covering a lot of stuff happening within the WGA. A lot of these DEI and DEIA rules And I got to ask, like right off the bat, and I'm going to bring up some stories and have you comment on it. And we'll also take your questions and comments as well for the 2,000 plus people that are currently watching. Smash that like button. What do you think about these rules in general in a very short period of time? Like the last, like, I don't know, it hasn't even been 10 years, but the last, like, more than 5 years, there's been a huge, I believe, an overreach from the human resources department to creatives. The human resources department that you pointed out, we had a text exchange, said the HR department that probably has no experience in entertainment. What are your general thoughts about this?
Yeah, I think the big reason a lot of this has happened is because TV became so big and streamers. And those are obviously corporate entities. So everybody's got their fingers in everything. And the last thing, look, I've made quite a few films. It's very hard to make a really great film. This one producer I know says, like, a movie like Swingers is great because every single person involved hit a home run. For the lack of funds they had, Doug Liman hit a home run. The actors hit a home run. The writers hit a home run. That's the only way you can make a good movie. So it's already stacked against you to try to make a good film or TV show. So then when you get, all this kind of like white noise coming from all these places, creatively, and then from people who don't know anything about filmmaking, we talked about that Amazon stuff, and there's a whole section about how you describe a character in a script. Everybody in the film industry who actually makes films and TV shows doesn't give a shit what it says. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to curse. Doesn't care what it says in that parenthetical after the character.
Okay, so it's diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. Okay, what am I trying to say? Okay, when you are trying to create something, it's like it's a different headspace that you're in, where you're open to a lot of different things. So as a creative individual doesn't see the world in the same way as a non-creative person does. So I don't know, for me, it feels more like like a river. It's like you're just kind of floating in the river, and whatever comes to you, like if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it just kind of flows. So there's a structure, but it's not really structured. It's like it's weird how to describe this. It's like when I see a sunset and you see how the lighting is going, and then you can see how, all right, so this can apply to this and the colors, and so it's just a different way of seeing that. The problem is typically those type of people aren't very good at business, like, because it's just the way that we kind of see stuff. So you get the guy who is about business and is structured. It's like this, and this. It's like this is they're looking at it from selling a widget. So you sell a widget the exact same way over and over and over and over again. So in order to make that work the best, you create a structure so that allows you to be able to mass produce the widget as best as possible. So when you take someone who looks at the world like that and you put them in charge of floaty, see the world in different color type people, it doesn't really work that well, because the structured thing is like, yes, you need structure, but it's kind of different in order for you to make a movie. And as he described, stuff like a lot of stuff has to work right for it to work. But if you cut down on the creatism, you can not see happy accidents. And like this case in point, there's a song by War where when they were recording it, and I've talked about this before. They were recording the song, and the drummer, he accidentally played the song on the upbeat, right? So instead of the downbeat, boom, he played it like upbeat. So it changed the feel. All right, hold on. Oh, I think I'm coming on with a cold. No, it changed the feel of the song. So the rest of the people who were playing the song with him, they just started playing along with his new feel, and it became a smash hit. And even though it was an accident for the drummer, it became a hit song. And you only found that because of just the way that creative people do stuff. Like in terms of selling a widget, you would have stopped the drummer and you would have made the drummer do it correctly. It's like, no, that's not right. Instead of being in the moment, it's like, and just going, just like the thing about the river. It's like you just go where it goes, and that's where it goes. But if you are structured, then you don't do that. You just like you have to go this way. So, and that's the people who are in charge of all of this stuff. So these people get told that, well, we need to push this, we need to push this, we need to do this. So it's like they put limits on the person who's trying to make a thing, and then when those people who don't want to go along with the program, they get ushered out of the building. And this is kind of the state of where we're at right now. But that's my little 2 cents. So let's go back to this.
No one sticks to that. That's like the most unimportant thing in the world. And just to give you a few, I guess back to your question is, I don't know where this is coming from, but it's just not adding to making films better or TV shows, which we've all seen. You know, it's more fingers in the recipe and more cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, well, it's always like, and this happens on a film set because you've also directed films. You directed an indie sci-fi film. I think we covered it several years ago, and which was great. And it's you're always getting, you're getting pieces of advice, and sometimes advice will come from an unlikely place, and sometimes things will change in the casting process. What to me, one of the most interesting, castings that had a benefit was the movie Night of the Living Dead from 1968 by George Romero. Yeah. The lead character was a character in the script just named Ben. He was the smartest guy in the script. He was the guy the audience looked to like what was happening. Not Barbara. She was sort of crazed off her rocker from that experience with the zombie in the beginning of the movie. And George Romero cast an actor named Dwayne Jones. Dwayne Jones happened to be black. He was just the best actor. Well, he's the best actor. He's delivering this stuff. If you remember the 1968 black and white Night of the Living Dead kicked off the zombie genre, wrote all the rules, and everyone on the set asked him, he's talked about this many times, you can look it up, are you going to rewrite the script? You're going to rewrite the script? Because, you cast a black actor. And he said, nope, not going to rewrite it. Not going to rewrite it at all. And you're missing opportunities to sometimes it's like, but when you explicitly are telling people in the script they must do certain things, this is from Amazon's page. I think a lot of this has to do with the over corporatization of entertainment, which comes from big tech, which every industry that big tech moves into, whether it's hotels or the taxi cab industry, it breaks the industry. It takes 30% for itself and it destroys that industry.
Yeah, because they're selling a widget.
Being dead serious. Look at any industry that big tech chooses, whether it's like food delivery, everything, name it. Anyways.
Yeah. Well, let me just give you an example after we talked about this and looked at this. I was trying to think, how would I?
Oh, before he gets into it, the thing about what he said was, change the script for what? Because it's a black actor. I'm like, okay, well, what does that have to do with anything? Because that is working off the assumption that all black folks are the same, and that this particular guy is going to act like what this other guy thinks a black person is supposed to act like. It's like, all right, so one, we're not a monolith. They have many black folks who act what the people consider ghetto, and then they have black folks who would act like what people consider white. So again, it's like normal. It's normal behavior. So there's no need to change for specific stuff in the script, because then it becomes pandering, and then it's a lot of the stuff. And it goes back to what I was talking earlier about Beyonce, is authenticity. And I think that's what a lot of people are looking for, is authenticity. Is like, for you to come across as being authentic in what you're talking about, what you're doing, what you're telling, what you're writing, what you're showing, what you're whatever. It's like you can have your own particular point of view because we are all individuals and we should act like individuals because that's what we are. We're not a group. It's not I'm not the exact same as if I'm standing next to another black dude. We're not the same. We didn't grow up the same. We didn't grow up in the same household. We're gonna see the world differently. So again, that's my little 2 cents.
I, pitch a TV show according to this whole guideline that's here. We see that Amazon and MGM are using. How would I pitch a film about a young, sexy FBI agent who gets help from an older man to solve the case, and the bad guy and the serial killer is a transsexual who was denied being, transition? How would I pitch that? It wouldn't exist under these rules. And you know what movie I just talked about? Silence of the Lambs. There you go.
Oh, that's right. That's effectively Silence of the Lambs. So this is the thing that bugs me is when I'm reading through this and people, it's this now. I don't know. Do you know this? That we did a video on this, Jim, and Elon Musk tweeted out the video.
No, I do not know that.
No. Race and ethnicity, including creative voices, community is best. This is something that's written by white people. And like, are they shown in connection to violence, either as perpetrators of victims, particularly gang violence? Are they linked to storylines that focus on drugs, addiction, and sexual promiscuity? Are they shown as member of the family unit in ways that do not center on broken homes, single parents, and other aspects of family life that foreground difficulty rather than joy? What is this? It's like, okay, stereo biases. Okay, this is a lot of black people's reality. So you shouldn't just tell stories. And this, I was just getting with, I had a discussion with someone today about like BET, because BET just shows you one particular aspect of blackness. So that, which is not true. And this is denying the other aspect of blackness. So it's like everybody is an individual who has their own individual life. So this is aspects of, because there was gang violence. Now I lived in a 2-parent household, and the part of town where I lived at, like, it was very nice, but we were surrounded by gang violence. So you can tell a story about my childhood that on a peripheral there's gang violence and there's instances of stuff happening, but you can still tell a nice story of a functional family in that setting. So this basically, you don't get Boys in the Hood, and you don't get, there's a lot of stories that you won't be able to tell because some idiot wrote this. I think that's what he's getting at. Is there are plenty of stories, if you actually went through this little checklist, you wouldn't be able to tell this story. Like, again, I think this is written by some white liberal. Like, I don't understand why they do stuff like this. It's like they think that they're helping, but they're not. So instead of writing stories where you can tell folklore and all this other stuff, because there's plenty of that, you don't tell any of those types of stories. So what you do is you tell the same stories about European stuff. You just stick black people in it and think that you're doing something, but you never go out and tell other stories. There are plenty of, like, I remember buying books with Native American stories and all that stuff in it. Do they tell any of those stories? No, none of these stories. They just do the same stuff over and over, as mostly European stories. They just interject brown people in them. So you got like Black Vikings for some reason. I'm like, okay, why don't you just, like you did Shaka Zulu a long time ago, why don't you just redo that? Or find some other stories from Africa to tell.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, well, we should have talked about it at the top. But yeah, Elon Musk tweeted out this video, the video that Alan and I did about this, what we're looking at right now. What it tells you is it's creating all these new terrible tropes. I saw the movie ISS, International Space Station, and it stars, the protagonist is a young black lesbian woman who by her identity, nothing is going to happen to her. And I was right. She, of course, survives. Spoiler alert, I ruined the movie for you. But yeah, it's
that's why these
unbelievable.
movies
Here,
suck.
race and ethnicity, it goes through different types for Black characters. For Hispanic, they're still using that term.
Oh my God,
Latinx. I don't know
Latinx.
any Hispanic friends of
hate
mine that like that term. They hate it.
Well, here's the big problem though with this. It's these people who created this.
Yeah, this was written by white people because Hispanics hate Latinx. I mean, like, just they see it as a slur, and they have said this over and over again, and these people just completely ignored that.
Think that just describing a character is a character. They don't even understand the medium. It's a visual medium. It's not how they're described on a page. It's how what they do. You know, for example, I decided to look up a few other movies. You know, Marion Ravenwood is described as beautiful, which you can't do here. But that's not what we look at when we see the movie. We see that she gets drunk when we first meet her. She's doing shots. She punches Andy. She fights. She does all this stuff in the first 5 minutes. That's the character, not what was said on the page of a document that's basically an internal document. These people are so caught up in like things that don't matter.
Yeah, look I didn't realize Mina was a thing. That's Middle Eastern / North African characters. Mina. Are they shown in violent situations, especially when linked to terrorism or religious extremism?
See, that's another thing. They keep making up terms. they keep making up terms for other people, like Latinx, Mina, BIPOC. It's like you just decide to start calling other, like, your life is whatever it is so much that you just up and decide to just, this is racist. How is this not racist? You just decide to call other people by other things just because you want to call them that. This is very racist, and most of these liberal people are.
Extremism? Are they shown at the extremes of wealth, either as royalty, sheiks, or business tycoons, or at the other end of the spectrum, in roles associated with poverty or as refugees? By the way, all those things exist.
Yeah,
yeah.
All those things
my friend says that my friend says they're in a sense,
denial of reality.
anglicizing ethnic characters by taking away what makes their culture unique. You now made them Anglo.
Yeah,
you know,
you're making everybody white.
You can't insist that a character or an actor do an accent, and so they have to basically do an Anglo accent, a white accent.
Yeah, you're making everybody
to
white.
Me, that just right there, you're working backwards.
From you know, last night too, when we talked about doing this, I was like, look, I'll think of a few films that would be totally blown out of the water by these kind of rules, would never even get started, right? So I looked at, you know, Tarantino's Cinema Speculation, which everybody should read, and every single movie and every chapter he talks about would not get past go on this list. Every single one. Bullet, you know, Rolling Thunder, Taxi Driver, Getaway. Let's just get rid of all those movies. They can't be made anymore.
Okay. Per this list, can you make Blazing Saddles? I don't think you can.
Don't exist. You know, and then I kind of went on a tangent, started thinking, you know, V for Vendetta you can't do. The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, the Godfather films, you know, Fight Club, because you're talking about somebody with a disability. It just goes on and on and on.
And this is why movies suck.
It's and we're gonna talk. We're gonna pivot to other things related, but this is so specific. Who put this much? I don't know who wrote this original document, which I assume gets amended every once in a while to whatever new, you know, language is being used. But this playbook is disgusting, and this needs to be rejected by the industry. Is people like yourself,
dude, this
people
is
who
so
are
stupid.
in the trenches, writing screenplays, writing the stories, need to push back against this and say, you know what? We appreciate the suggestions. We're not going to listen to it because, as you pointed out in our original exchange when I sent this to you, what are the qualifications of these people? You pointed out that like one of the women from the HR department used to work at Caterpillar, which is construction vehicles in HR. What does she know about story? Does she know who Joseph Campbell is? Has she even read the Sid Field book on screenwriting? Does she know about like different entertainment demographics like different things. They just do, even different ages.
This is very stupid.
These rules will, if these rules are adhered to, it's going to destroy the industry, is my thought.
Or it already is. I mean, listen, I can talk about it because at the moment, for various reasons, which you can see, I'm not going to be hired by Amazon or MGM anytime soon.
Why are you not going to be hired,
why not?
Jim? Why are you not going to be
He's
hired?
talented.
Because he's white. The fact that they call this storytelling is hilarious. Yeah, and this is like what I was saying before. The difference between the way a creative person thinks and a non-creative person thinks is this limits you. It's like humor is like there's a old adage. Well, it's not old, but it's a thing that says that the left can't meme. It's like the reason why they can't meme is because humor can be mean. Like you can take whatever joke that you told about somebody, depending on how they take it, it can come across as being mean. It's like you may not be trying to be mean, you might be trying to just be funny, and so but somebody can take it that way. So so all this stuff, it's like that is why those folks who do these kind of things, they're not funny. They're not like they're not heroic. They're not, because they just don't know how to be that.
Because I'm a white straight male. Let's just get that out there. That's no secret. But the thing is, it goes deeper too. It's like it's a complete lack of understanding of how the film industry works, how you make films, because there's also a section in production where they basically say that a line producer should not use their crew they always use. They should expand out, hire new people. That's basically the line producer's job, to have an experienced crew come in and knock a movie out. If you told me to like bring in I've produced over a dozen films. If you told me to bring in half my crew as new people, and I'm responsible for $60,000, $70,000 or more a day we're spending, I can't on the job train a bunch of new people. That's
something. Look, Martin Scorsese, right? He's worked with a lot of the same people. He's worked with De Niro. He's worked with Leonardo DiCaprio. He's worked with Thelma Schoonmaker, his editor, to dictate these rules and say you got to mix it up. Sure, if Wally Pfister's not available, Christopher Nolan could hire a different director of photography. Or if Hans Zimmer isn't available, you'll get someone else for Oppenheimer to do the score, right? Hans Zimmer really wanted to do Dune, which is why he wasn't able to work on Oppenheimer, whatever. But there is a trust. When you develop that trust, you work with different people that you like to work with in a creative space, because $60,000 a day. That's crazy.
That's not an indie film. That's like a $2 million film you're spending that, per production day. So it's like you hire some young kids because you have to, or you're forced to, who don't know how to do gags, and they can't blow a little charge on a car window, to simulate a gunshot, and you're sitting there for 4 hours. You just wasted a third of your whole day. So that's $20,000, but you gave somebody a new shot, So that's I find even more insane than it's all pretty insane. I mean, it's just, no one's going to go, all movies do not fit into all things. If somebody wants to go write a black lesbian love story, and that's their perspective, their point of view, they don't need all these rules. They're going to write that. But when you're writing John Wick 5, you don't need to apply the same rules as some, indie film. They're totally different things. It's like all things are not all things to all people.
You just get a sense that they don't know what it's like to make a movie, or to tell a story or anything.
You think?
That they're sitting on the sidelines, and have no empathy or idea that this is what happens on the set, and this is why, you need reliable people to keep people safe, keep the story moving on.
One other thing, sorry, I'm getting all fired up, Alan. One other thing is, it also says in this whole outline that you should not describe, women as like girl next door or feisty or things like that. So the casting director won't be like boxed in. There is absolutely no casting director that works at a high level that is going to be like, hey, it says feisty, so I can only bring in feisty Latinos. They're the opposite. They push you more than anyone creatively. And they will come up with so many different options. So it's kind of insulting to casting directors on top of it. It just shows a complete, utter lack of understanding how things are made.
Well, it's just annoying that people who've never made a movie tell you how to make a movie. And it's
there's that too.
Yeah.
There's that. We're gonna go to your questions in just a second, but I have one last question for you, Jim, before we go to the chat. Is on fire with over 2,000 people watching us live at the moment. But one last question. Does Hollywood push back against this? And do people like yourself start to speak out and say, we're not going to be bound by these rules. We're going to think about the audience first before we think about what's required on a corporate level. And are people going to push back and stand up? Or is a thriving indie industry going to emerge from people just getting sick of this? Because there are so many qualified people like you not working right now. And it's disgusting to me that to see this entire industry implode. So do people push back, or does a new industry emerge?
Well, I think, look, people like me, I can push back. I can do pretty much whatever I want. I've still been working the last few years because I work mostly in indie films. I've sold TV shows. I've written pilots. I've done it all across the board. But my main, bread and butter has always been indie films. They do not care about this stuff. You know how indie films put together? If you write a script that can get Guy Pearce in it, you can get $4 million. It's that simple. It's no one cares about any of this stuff in the indie film world. It's all a math problem, dollars and cents, and then secondarily, you try to be creative with it. But the poor people who came up in TV, which has become so corporate with the streamers and all this stuff is in there. There's so many decent people, qualified people that are not working, can't find jobs because it's just become corporate. It's become weird. It's become DEI. I'm sure they don't want to push up against it. They want to, but they won't publicly, because, people whisper in my ear all the time. They're like, when is this going to end? This is stupid. I can't get a job. I got passed over for this. I'm doing double duty on this TV show because all the young writers are horrible, but we'll see. I think the state of the industry is what's going to change everything. Because what did 800 people get laid off at Paramount yesterday? Hundreds at MGM the other day. So it's like everybody I know who works on the more corporate side is freaking out. So there's basically not going to be an industry, I think, in 3 or 4 years if it keeps going like this. And the thing is, this is why I speak out, because it's not going to be here anymore. And luckily, I'm older now, so I'll be okay without it. But instead of worrying about AI and things like that, we're worried about this.
All right, let me stop that. All right. What's going to happen is you're going to get more and more people who, because of AI, are going to be able to make film quality stuff. And they're just going to ignore these crazy people who want to put stuff that in the end is not actually helping the people that they're trying to help. Because I remember someone reading a bunch of articles about the Me Too stuff. The Me Too stuff in the end, because of what happened, everything starts off with the best of intentions. But when you do stuff, people have a tendency, lower thinking folks have a tendency to abuse things, and they ruin it for everybody else. So that's what's going to happen. Is that list was ridiculous. I don't know who put that together and how they think that that's going to help. Stereotypes exist for a reason. It's not everybody, but it's more of a general thing. So that's while everybody does not have the same life story, but they share a lot of traits that are similar. So a lot of the stories that you tell are going to come from the same kind of place. So if you keep limiting more and more of what people can say, it's not. So I don't know. We're watching the end of Hollywood as we know it. said I know my godson, he likes anime. None of this stuff. They got all kind of stuff going on in variety of different types of things in anime. That none of that stuff will cross his mind, and all of these things that we grew up with having as mainstays in our life are gonna go away, and he won't even notice it. So, all right. So the end. I think I'm gonna watch one more thing, and this has to do with the future of the future of gaming. I mean, I've been talking like Xbox came out a while, I think Thursday, and they did a discussion of what the future for them kind of is. So I'm gonna look at, I think it's IGN, and see what they have to say about it. All right.
Next level.
All right, let me see if I can find this. Let's see. It's in my history. Kind of pulled it up. Yeah, but that was ridiculous. All right. Oh, yeah. Lots of commercials. I'm trying to get to. So disappointed in this Halo thing. All right, so I'm just gonna briefly look through this and see what they have to say. I find that certain things are inevitable. It's just a matter of what's going to happen is going to happen. So, see what he said.
Everything happening with the latest gaming hardware. I'm Jamin Hatfield. I'm joined in studio this week by Nick Lamone.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Lifetime PlayStation fan, big fan of Final Fantasy as well.
Huge Final Fantasy guy.
We're also joined by Ryan McCaffrey, host of IGN's Xbox podcast Unlocked.
Always good to see you guys.
You as well. And I don't want to be melodramatic, but it feels like maybe we're standing on the precipice of some big changes in regards to Xbox's relationship with PlayStation. So on the off chance that you're watching the show but haven't heard the latest news and all the discussion that's been happening, over last weekend, The Verge had a report that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle and Starfield are reportedly being considered for PS5, and this may indicate a new multi-platform
when did this come
approach
out?
inside Microsoft.
This is old. Okay, all right. So that's old. Yeah, because what did this one?
Piece of hardware has been more important than the console. It brought video games to our home.
All right, so I guess they didn't talk about it because I kind of thought. All right. Let me go back to while I look this up. Future in gaming. Probably should spell future, right? Nah. All right. So I thought it was something that I'll be able to talk about, but apparently they didn't really discuss it. All right. Back to full screen. All the stuff that folks have been young, like things are changing. Like things are changing with movies, television, where you're gonna be watching like your sports at, because that's the deals that they had with various cable companies and all these things are coming up soon. And all right. See, I know Apple and Amazon, and someone was telling me to get Google too. They're all interested in sports because like with the Super Bowl, you got 105 million people watch Super Bowl. So everybody wants in on that. People aren't watching things on standard terrestrial television anymore. We are a on-demand world right now, and that also applies to gaming. I think we got maybe one, maybe two more consoles left. Because at that point, so you look at another 10 years. So say 10 years from now, at the 5G, they probably will be on like 6G at that point. And Microsoft is really, really into the cloud gaming stuff. And I know someone who has a Surface, and they're able to basically stream their like their games that they have on their console on their Surface. So you'll be able to like I have a nice Wi-Fi service at my house with we have a Nest mesh. And that means you can walk around the house, you don't even notice, you know, we got like crazy range. So you'll be able to have just like a TV setup, have that connect to your Wi-Fi 8, because they're working on Wi-Fi 7, and it sends data quicker, broader bandwidth, so more devices can utilize the faster speeds and all that stuff. So we got, so it is, all the technology is building towards the fact that you will just have like your TV will send out a signal to your controller and you'll be playing everything on the cloud. You won't actually, because Microsoft, I think, got rid of their physical media department because they can kind of see the writing on the wall too. Now, I wish that this wasn't a thing because I like getting this. I like the box art, and I like all the stuff that comes with getting a game that you do not get when you buy something digital. Digital, you get like a trailer and like a little picture. This is the same thing when it comes to CDs and all that other stuff. So just because you like something, that don't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to keep it. Times change, you know, that kind of thing. And it becomes, it is what it is. It's not about what you in your older age want. Is about what younger folks are kind of used to. So if they're used to streaming, and if that's what their life is streaming, they don't buy, you know, I have a lot of DVDs and whatnot, and I don't use them. And it's like my PlayStation back there doesn't even have a drive on it. So it's going to get to the point where I'm not even going to be able to play these things, which is going to suck because there's a lot of movies that are not streaming, that are not on Apple or Amazon or what like that, like old movies that you can't get, that have problematic stuff in it that cannot be edited out. So hopefully there'll be like a resurgence like it is with vinyl, but it's one of those things where it is what it is. So I kind of was looking like this is probably a discussion that I might have to have with someone at some point, like on a live, and to get various opinions on this. But personally, it's inevitable, and you get fuss and you get upset about it, but it's gonna happen. So I don't know, but that was interesting little tidbit. I wish I could have. Maybe I can find something later, and I'll do a video on it or something. But the whole thing with like Beyonce and all that stuff is, I wish her the best. You know, like I don't know the person, and I don't. At the end of the day, I don't personally care one way or the other. I just think is not genuine what she's doing. But you know, if your fans like it, that's great. Go for it. You know, so just don't be shocked at the pushback, because the craziest thing about like country music is there's different versions of country music over the years. So the folks who listened to country music in the 80s like in the 70s and the 80s, didn't like the Tim McGraw, Toby Keith, bro country stuff of the 90s and the 2000s. And that group doesn't like the new country, which is 20-year-olds who grew up listening to trap music. So all the country music has like bass and they're using TR-808 drum sounds in the music. So it's interesting how that has changed over the years. So I don't know. I think all this is going to blow over fairly quickly because, and like I said, I don't think this is she's not switching completely. Like she's going to stay in the pop stuff. So I don't know. But time for me to go. It's getting a little late. I got to go to work tomorrow and all that fun stuff. So anybody who checked this out, please like, share, and subscribe and all that fun stuff. All right. And I am out.